Fight forever. Clap, 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 clap. The AEW video game Fight Forever has been in production for quite a long time at this point, and Tony Khan recently said that it is done and ready to be released. So what the fuck is the holdup? Everybody's wondering, right? Let's get a fucking release date. Let's get going on some pre-orders. Let's do this shit. Well, we might have a clue as to one thing that might be holding this up. As according to Wrestling Inc., GCW is opposing AEW's Fight Forever trademark in settlement negotiations. Look at that picture. That looks like shit, by the way. That is not a good fucking graphic. Look at that belt. It looks so flat. There's no texture to it. It's completely flat. Moxley looks like a goddamn caveman. I mean, he looks like a werewolf normally, but here he looks like a caveman. The brow is a little too thick. I know they're not going for extreme realism. They're going for arcade style, but still, it's a little rough there. There's still no release date. This is by David Bickenspan. There's still no release date for Fight Forever, blah, 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 blah. Ready to be released, but no date has been dropped yet. However, paperwork filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office a few days before Revolution points to another possible holdup. GCW is formally opposing AEW's registration of its Fight Forever trademark, with the documents indicating the two companies are in settlement talks. The documents consist of Mike Dawkins, gimmick attorney Mike Dawkins, who represents several talents for AEW, who represents GCW and others in trademark proceedings regularly, filing a request on March 1st for an extension of time to formally oppose AEW's trademark, as well as the United States patent approval of the request of the request the following day. GCW and Dawkins now face a May 31st deadline. In the request for the extension, GCW indicates that it needed to extend the deadline, originally March 2nd, not just so it could further investigate the claim and confer with counsel, Dawkins, but also because it's engaged in settlement discussions with AEW. GCW held its own Fight Forever in January of 2021 as a 24-hour event with no fans in attendance. I remember that during the COVID lockdowns and such like that. When reached by Wrestling Inc., Mike Dawkins, gimmick attorney, declined a request for comment. As of the writing, neither GCW nor AEW has responded to similar requests. However, we do have an update over here on Twitter, as we have Brett Lauderdale, who is the boss man. He's the Paul Heyman, if you will, of GCW. He Twitter posted, GCW has never and will never ask for $1 of Tony Khan's money. This was in response to some fucking nerd on the internet here saying, this seems pretty clear, like most other wrestling people, they just want some of Tony Khan's money. This is ridiculous. Well, first of all, they had a fucking event called Fight Forever. I don't know if they filed a trademark for it or what the situation is here, but we'll get more into that in a second. JD from New York chimes in, but we'll leave that be, because Sean Ross Sapp has a little bit of a news update on this. He posted, GCW is not looking to delay the release of AEW's video game or get money from AEW. Per GCW, they're looking to simply make sure that they can still use the name in future charity shows. Look at JD, GCW starting the process to oppose the video game is lowbrow, carny indie garbage. That's a bad take by JD, by the way. Very bad take. Let's take a look at this here. So here's the way that I see it. GCW had an event called Fight Forever. So I don't know if they trademarked it. Probably not, because they are indie-rific. You know what I mean? They probably might not have the money to do that. Maybe they did. Either way, they got an attorney involved. You know, they had the event. It does not appear that they're fighting over the name even, or for money. This isn't a lawsuit. This is, they want to make sure that they didn't lose the name somehow, from what I gather, or that they're able to just continue doing their Fight Forever events, and that's AEW is going to be okay. Like, you can do GCW's fine. Like, do the video game. Let us do our fucking charity show. And I think that seems to be where the injunction comes in and what they're looking into doing at this point. This could change. GCW could certainly seek monetary resolution if they had... Look, if they have copyrighted Fight Forever, then they got AEW by the balls. I don't think they did, because AEW certainly would have looked into a copyright before just naming the game and promoting it, coming out with it publicly. There's no way they're just like, oh, let's call it Fight Forever and not copyright it in the fucking world of professional wrestling. And I don't know how much you know about trademarks and stuff. Certainly I'm not an expert either. And by the way, copyright and trademark are different things, even though I seem to be using them interchangeably. But, you know, if a trademark is filed for Fight Forever by GCW, it's going to cover anything related to wrestling, so that, say, Impact Wrestling can't do a Fight Forever event without GCW suing the fuck out of them, or WWE even couldn't use Fight Forever. This is something like MLW's been, you know, got into lawsuits with WWE before over like War Games and stuff like that, because for a little bit MLW had War Games. So this is, you know, it doesn't sound like GCW has trademarked this. Otherwise, AEW would have never been able to get Fight Forever off the ground in the context of professional wrestling anyway. So now it sounds like maybe GCW is like, fuck, we still want to use that name for our thing. I don't know the exact, you know, without seeing any court case, who knows who trademarked what, how any of this works. Maybe AEW's legal team did overlook this when they called the game Fight Forever, but I just can't imagine they would, a company the size of AEW would create a video game called Fight Forever without trademarking Fight Forever as a term for AEW wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's a little strange how this is playing out, but it doesn't look like a money grab. And look, Brett Lauderdale seems like a pretty good dude. He's not a shisty little fucking weasel. You know what I mean? He's not a scumbag, indie fucking rific garbage promoter, as JD from New York said. You know, and I know JD's got hot takes and he's outspoken and stuff, and that's part of his character too. And, you know, feisty New York motherfucker and all that, but that's a bad take. I don't see GCW doing this to just be a dick or do a money grab or anything like that. Maybe that's how it plays out. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But this just seems to be like, let's just work out how we're going to use this name Fight Forever. You know, who can use what and how. Let's get all this situated. So they're working on a settlement. They're working on an agreement. They're probably working with AEW to sit down and go, okay, you can use it for this, I can use it for that. I won't call it a video game, you won't call it a pay-per-view, bada bing, bada boom, we're good. That could very well be. Look, AEW's Fight Forever video game, to me, doesn't take away from a GCW Fight Forever pay-per-view. It's not WrestleMania, the video game. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily an established brand yet. And it just, to me, they're almost two different things. Fight Forever is a term in wrestling, not necessarily a brand in wrestling. It's kind of, you know, it's a chant. It's a chant. It's like calling a fucking game what? And a pay-per-view what? You can't own what? I mean, you could, but like, you get my point. I'm digressing again. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts? How do you see this? Is GCW being a bunch of greedy little bitches? Money grab for Tony Khan? Or was AEW in the wrong for calling this game Fight Forever, knowing full well that GCW had a Fight Forever event? Did GCW get caught slipping? Did they not trademark this bitch? And now they're facing a situation where they could lose their pay-per-view name, and maybe gimmick attorney Mike Dawkins is simply fighting to try to hang on to the rights to use the pay-per-view name. Who knows? But I'm going to keep an eye on this. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see where things go. But I am curious your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Peace, love, and pizza. I'm going to move ahead to the next. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.